Good evening. Welcome to episode 4 of Talking Trash. I'm James Langfield.
Tom Gherkin.
I guess I'm yes. I'm Craig Gilchrist.
And I'm dead air.
No, we can. and that is Bohan. And tonight on episode 14, it is a little different. We usually have Claire with us, but Claire's away doing other stuff right now. So it's Craig, Tom, Andy, and myself. And tonight, our top 5 of the evening is our top 5 stars of 2018 so far. So the top 5 wrestlers within the wrestling industry, not WWE exclusive, but the top 5 wrestlers within the wrestling industry that we feel have made the biggest impact so far this year. And once we've gone through that, we're going to have a quick rundown of the Money in the Bank pay-per-view coming up in the next couple of weeks, a few predictions, and see how we go from there. Tom, we'll have you kick things off. Who is your number 5 star of 2018 so far?
I think it's Nikki Cross.
Cool. And why would you say Nikki Cross has made a big impact?
Well, I mean, look at her working at NXT so far. She had a bit of a tough time of it. She's in a great stable. Everything's looking good. They're making a difference. And then 3 of the guys get drafted elsewhere. She's left on her own, not going with them. So everything was a little bit up in the air. Instead, she gets a decent push. She does some good matches, like really does some decent matches. And now, look at her, she's got a title shot. Everything's on the up and up. And so for me, I would say Nikki Cross isn't just one of the best stars so far. She's one where if we look back on this in December, we'll all be going, oh yeah, obviously, she's NXT champion. She's on top of the world.
No, I can understand what you put her there. She is doing really well for herself. Was a bit of a shame that she didn't get taken with Sanity. Would have been nice to see her in that stable as well. But we'll see what comes of that. But no, I can totally understand where you're coming from there. Craig, who would you say is your number 5 star this year so far?
I actually had this the wrong way. You've just said it's top 5 for this year. Well, I actually had 5 on top. 5 wrestlers that I would like to see on top. So I had Peyton Royce, Sasha Banks, like on top of me is what I thought the subject was. So I do really apologize. 5 top stars for 2018, first 6 months. Who have I enjoyed? Not Roman Reigns. Not Brock. Miz. Actually, Miz, I'm really quite digging him. I'm not too sure about the Naruto-style headband that he wears, but I'm digging his work. Yeah, he's good.
No, I can understand that. No, Miz has come on leaps and bounds. We all remember him when he was Mike the Miz Mizanin from the real world, and it's a world away since he's been that guy, and he got the Miz Taraj to where they are right now. They're kind of the B team, and they're flourishing without him. And it seems that anyone who works with the Miz gets that bonus. He's a very good worker in the ring. His ability has come on leaps and bounds. He is a solid heel. So no, he is definitely one to watch in terms of taking WWE into the future.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah.
No, Bohan, who's your number 5 star of this year so far?
So my number 5 was Braun Strowman because, in looking at the question, I just thought who disrupted shit the most. To be honest. Like, when you look at Braun Strowman's place in the card, it's fucking wrecking main events left, right, and centre. So, why not? It suited him as well. Fucking taking the tag belts off the bar at Mania with a child was just...
It was good.
See something like that. I laughed. It entertained me. He's going to be around for a while. I've just learned to like him, I think.
No, I love Braun Strowman. Braun Strowman is one of my favorite guys on the card right now. He hasn't made my list just because I think that there's some guys who might have made a bigger of an impact, but certainly I can understand why he's on your list. I'm last in terms of number 5. So for myself, my number 5 in terms of making an impact so far this year, kind of going from WrestleMania to now, really, rather than the whole of this year, but is number 5 Shinsuke Nakamura. His heel turn at WrestleMania was the push over the edge that he needed and that we needed to see. He's flourishing as a heel. I felt that he was kind of floundering a little bit as a babyface, wasn't getting the connect and the heat as a face that he's now getting as a heel. We love to boo him. We love to hate him. He is a fantastic in-ring worker. Him and AJ have some brilliant chemistry, and right now AJ Styles has been a fantastic foil for Shinsuke Nakamura's heel work. But that heel work and that turn and the whole not speaking English gimmick that he's got going on right now, absolutely loving it, and so that's why he made my number 5.
It really has suited him, the turn, although the one thing I have to question the wisdom of is a last man standing match. When your last match, which was meant to be no DQ, it ended in a double count out. Last man standing, yeah, that will solve that fucking problem.
Yeah, that's a bit of a weird one. Totally agree with you. I'm a bit surprised that they haven't come out and said it's a last man standing, but there has to be a winner. That's a bit weird to me.
It's one of those ones as well where you're just looking at it and you're thinking, well, it's just going to end the same way the last one did. Don't pull this out just to piss on me again. Come on.
No, we need to have a logical conclusion. I'm all for ramping up it and having gimmick matches, but if the gimmick match that you've selected then doesn't bring your feud to a conclusion, then there's no real point in having a gimmick match. It's almost just there for the sake of having it. So if you're going to put a gimmick match in my opinion, a gimmick match should be used sparingly and for the use of concluding a feud.
Maybe they could have a cut on a pole match.
No, we're not having Vince Russo book matches anymore. Vince Russo is not allowed to book matches in which things are put on poles.
They can have a karaoke machine on a pole match.
Oh, yeah.
They went with no speaky English. They've already gone whole arse down that track.
Yeah.
That is true.
Japanese on a pole match. How about
that? A Japanese to English dictionary on a pole match.
Yeah, Sensei gets it and reads it, like skims through it briefly, and he goes, I can speak English.
Get out the room, Vince Russo.
Okay. So that's our number 5's done. So we're now on to our number 4 stars of 2018. We'll start off with Bohan this time. Who's your number 4?
My number 4 was Asuka. I mean, the momentum did admittedly kind of come to a screeching concrete wall halt at like Mania, but it was such a good build up to the whole thing, and someone else is going to get the rub off of it. So I suppose that's making an impact in its own way. I would just really like to see her not get swallowed by that.
No, I'm liking Asuka. Asuka's always been, she's just a fantastic worker. I felt that they shouldn't have ended the streak. That should have been carried on. She should have won the title at WrestleMania and been allowed to continue on that streak for a bit longer there until they had, I would have liked to have seen it been Ronda Rousey versus Asuka, had Rousey built up until she was ready for Asuka, and then you have, Asuka lose the title to Ronda Rousey to break that streak. That would have been a nice way of booking that. But unfortunately, it would seem that somebody still has their tongue firmly planted up the arse of the Flares, and so they can't allow anybody to go over the Flares at this point at a major pay-per-view.
Like with streak angles, there's only one way they can ever end anyway. So, like, inevitably, if you hold on to it for too long, it's always going to be disappointing when it ends because you've got to pick someone who seems believable, but you also have to not pick someone who everyone's going to be pissed off at getting the opportunity early. Kind of made they could of it. There was no point where it was going to work out, I don't think.
No, I think I agree with you there.
I mean, I see your point, but it's annoying. But at the same time, yeah, I agree with Bohan. And I also think if she's going to lose, Charlotte is the best in the women's division. For me, by far. She's head and shoulders. In the ring, on the mic, the way she holds herself. So if someone's going to be Asuka, for me, that makes perfect sense. She's better than Asuka. Oh, shit, I can't believe I just said that.
See, you say that, I disagree, but I mean, I'm more a Bliss fit than anything anyway. I really feel like Alexa Bliss is like fucking destined to be top, but too small to ever do it. Sad. She can't be the women's Daniel Bryan because they won't let her.
Yeah. Bliss easily one of the best on the mic, isn't she? Second only to Charlotte for me, Bliss. Very good on the mic.
Oh no, Alexa Bliss is fantastic. She is a brilliant heel. She just knows how to get the crowd in the palm of her hand. But moving on from that, I think I'll take the next spot for number 4s. I have, forgive me, cheated a little bit. I've got 2 guys in my number 4 spot, but right now they are working very well together, and that's Dolph Ziggler and Drew McIntyre. They're working so well as a duo, and although it has been relatively recent, they have just kind of catapulted themselves into the scene, made themselves relevant, and absolutely are just tearing through the Raw right now. And it does seem that with Drew by his side, Dolph has become more significant and is getting more of a push than he has done in a long, long time. And it's nice to see Dolph enjoying his wrestling again and enjoying being a heel. It just seemed that at the moment, before this, Dolph was kind of just going through the motions, and the gimmicks he had and the kind of shtick he was doing wasn't really getting him anywhere. It wasn't doing what he felt it should have been doing, or the WWE wanted it to do. It just seems that Drew McIntyre's come in and it has breathed he's a breath of fresh air for Dolph, and it's just nice to see Drew McIntyre back on the main roster. He had the problems in NXT, wins the title, ends up getting injured and has to drop it again, and he was away for a while, but now he's back on the main roster. He's looking a hell of a lot leaner, looking a lot bigger than he was when he was in the WWE the first time, and he gets to be that tall monster heel that he got to play when he was down in TNA, and it feels that his time away has really polished him, and he's ready to have that main event push that he might not have been ready for when he first came to WWE, and so that's why they make my number 4.
Shawn and Diesel 2.0, yeah. Like the upgraded version that kind of can work and doesn't tear a quad every time it gets in the ring.
Yeah, I don't care that they're copying Shawn and Diesel. It works.
That's not a criticism. It's basically the upgraded version. It's bizarre. Like it's so surreal to watch, and yet like the whole thing that never worked about Diesel for Kevin Nash was he couldn't be serious for 20 minutes because you couldn't buy it from him. It's so bizarre to see Drew get put in there, but you can buy it from him.
Mm-hmm.
Oh god, yeah, you can buy serious Drew McIntyre. I mean, you've met the guy, Bohan. Are you going to mess around with him in the back alley, in a darkened alley, really?
In the back alley.
I figure, as a human being, you're probably fine if you don't try and fuck with him. If you try and fuck with him, you kind of ask for it, I suppose.
Fair enough. But yeah, he made my number 4. Tom, what makes your number 4?
Yeah, I think good timing throwing for me, because my number 4 is Dolph Ziggler. I agree with what you're saying entirely. The thing about Dolph is, if I could add to what you were saying a little bit, before when he went, he was a hell of a good wrestler at one point.
Hell yes, man.
Amazing. He was wrestling multiple matches on the card. There'd be pay-per-views where he was wrestling 3 matches, because he was doing such a good job in all of them. And yet they couldn't find anything for him. And they couldn't find anything for him. And they couldn't find anything for him. And Dolph Ziggler, a man who has been billed for ages as the new next Shawn Michaels, they end up practically releasing because they can't find anything for him. And finally, something comes around. Bit of work with Drew McIntyre, the classic, big, brutish guy, and a guy who's got a chip on his shoulder tag team. And it works. It works perfectly fine. Dolph's getting a bit of a rub. The fans are actually getting a reason to get behind him. He's getting a bit of heat, and it works. Dolph Ziggler, definitely.
Awesome.
Is there any universe, though, where this storyline doesn't end with Drew McIntyre murdering Dolph Ziggler? Is there?
It's probably going to happen. It's inevitable that those two will end up getting into a fight, and they'll have a feud. And either they'll go down the route that Ziggler will be the underdog face to Drew McIntyre's heel, or they'll have the Drew McIntyre snapped and we're sick and tired of Dolph Ziggler being a heel, and then you have the really big face absolutely squashing the tiny heel.
Really big face versus tiny heel doesn't put arses in seats, I don't think.
No.
No, you'll probably have, like I said, the most likely one, hopefully, will be underdog face Ziggler against heel McIntyre.
Yeah, I think that's the more. Although McIntyre is their big star, isn't he? He's the one they want to push. So you never know. They could go down the weird route.
Who knows? I mean, originally when he came in, he was Vince McMahon's chosen one. Whether or not he still is Vince McMahon's chosen one will remain to be seen. But you never.
One.
Right, it's going to be interesting to see what happens there. But closing out our number fours is yourself, Craig. So who's your number 4 for this year so far?
You know what? I think I'm going to jump on the Ziggler bandwagon. He's just an incredible guy. You know, no matter what match he's in, he just outperforms everybody. He's ridiculous. I think part of the problem, though, Tom, is that he's too, and I think James and I have spoken about this. He's too good at selling other people over himself. Mm-hmm. You know, his offense comes second to making somebody else look good, and maybe that's the role that he's been put in. But even when he was champion, he still sold a ton. He's just a fantastic salesman. I think that's part of his problem.
I know. We've said this, countless times. Dolph Ziggler is a consummate salesman. If he has one fatal flaw is he tends to sell or even oversell. I mean, he just knows how to put a guy over in terms of making stuff look like it hurts, and it's a fantastic thing to see. But it could be holding him back because yes, you need to sell your moves, but you can't oversell constantly because otherwise you're just not going to make yourself look strong when you have your comebacks and when you have the hope spots. You need to be able to sell as well as make yourself look convincing, and I think Dolph Ziggler didn't quite have that balance with selling and making his offense look convincing at the same time.
Yeah. That's exactly it.
Okay, so moving on, we're just coming up to the halfway stage. We're at our number 3 spots. I'll kick this one off. My number 3 so far this year has been Matt Hardy. I love Broken Matt. I love Broken Matt, Woken Matt, whatever you want to call him. To pun his phrase, think he has been wonderful. I mean, yes, the stuff he's done in WWE hasn't been as balls to the walls mental as it was when he was down in TNA and you had the Ultimate Deletion and all that stuff that came when they were working with Jeremy Borash. But I think given that they're in WWE and they have to kind of appeal to a wider audience and it's slightly toned down, the stuff they still can get away with and the stuff they can still do is fantastic. I'm liking Bray Wyatt teaming with Matt Hardy, kind of woken Bray Wyatt. I'm really enjoying that, and I think if Matt could awaken some more, because there was kind of a whole Twitter thing when you had the B team, Curtis Axel and Bo Dallas saying that, and then next thing you know, Bray's responding saying you need to be awoken and join us. It would be brilliant if you could have Bo Dallas become awoken as well and realize that he is Bray's brother and join Matt. That would be fantastic. But for now, I'm really enjoying the woken Matt Hardy, and I hope it continues because it's one of my favorite parts of Matt Hardy's character, and that's why he makes my number 3.
Do you know what's the worst bit about that? I completely agree with you about wanting Bo Dallas to be saved from that sinking ship because he's my boy, but it's just not going to happen.
No, I don't think it will, but I would love to see a woken Bo Dallas. It would be amazing. I think it would be fantastic. Just, maybe they could do that, have a tag team match back at the Hardy Ranch between the B team and the Deleter of Worlds, as they're calling themselves right now, and just have them in the lake of reincarnation and just wake Bo Dallas and Curtis Axel up that way, and maybe even do what they did with Jeff and just have Curtis Axel continue being reincarnated with the different costumes that he was wearing during I'm going to be a different wrestler every week gimmick that he had.
Yeah, that'd be funny.
That would be good. Let's go to Bohan. Who's your number 3?
My number 3 is a name I can't say normally. It's Adam Cole, baby.
No, I agree with you. He's my number 2. So yeah, definitely Adam Cole, baby, is my number 2 as well.
It was fucking difficult not to put him on the list somewhere after that ladder match and shit. And I must be the only human being on this planet that likes red straps, by the way, because everyone pissed and moaned when it was the Universal title. I thought it looked quite good. It's just me, literally just me, it appears. But
no, I like the look of the North American title. It's a nice, pretty belt.
It's kind of weird though how they've gone for the whole Florida Championship Wrestling actually shaped like the United States kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like rather than like some abstract like representation, but it looks cool as fuck.
Oh yeah.
But his performances have been great. Undisputed Era is the most entertaining thing that's been on wrestling that I've been able to watch for any length of time for quite some time. Those are my three boys from Ring of Honor finally getting the opportunity to do what makes me so happy to see them do.
And
So,
Roderick
like,
Strong.
Oh yeah. Like Roddy joining was just the icing on the cake. So I was like, well, why have we got the PWG like sort of expats over here without Roddy? It just doesn't make sense anymore. Come on, just get fucking on with it, have him turn heel. And it was beautiful. And that's another sign of Impact because he's fucking up everything in the storylines.
And it's brilliant. I love Undisputed Era. I'm a big fan of what they do. The War Games match they had at the back end of last year, and it was at the start of this year, but the War Games match was fantastic. And then they're coming in and they've got the tag belts, and then Adam Cole doing double duty that night, and then having the Roderick Strong heel turn against Pete Dunne, which I did not see coming. It completely came out of the blue for me. Really enjoyed that. Love that turn as well. It just worked really well. So no, definitely I can understand why he's on your list because he's made mine. He's slightly higher up than yours is, but certainly I can understand that as well. Tom, who made your number 3?
So it's another bit of a someone who's good in the past and then dropped off a little bit. Aiden English. I think that, we all remember the Vaudevillains, and we all remember that old tag run. And English kind of just drops off a bit because they go to the main roster and it doesn't work. And then his character isn't anything. And Aiden English doesn't have anything to do at all. And then he weirdly joins with Rusev, which was so strange. And then it's this hype man. And then Rusev Day starts working. And then he's coming in singing to introduce him. And it just works, doesn't it? It just works.
No, I can understand. I do like Aiden English. The whole Rusev Day gimmick has gotten hugely over. It is pretty cool. I do like the whole "It's Rusev Day." Just it was a fun thing. I mean, he had that gimmick back before the Vaudevillains. He was the kind of whole singing guy down in NXT, and then they did the whole Vaudevillain shtick, and unfortunately Simon Gotch got released, and so we kind of didn't have the Vaudevillains to fall back on anymore. And like you said, he floundered in the mid card, not really doing anything, and now he's back. He's with Rusev, and so definitely he has made that impact. As kind of he had a good run in NXT, a little bit of a run with the Vaudevillains, that kind of flew apart, and then he's got himself back up to kind of being in the public eye again. He's done a really good job there, so totally understand why he's on your list.
Definitely. I mean, when you look at that match on SmackDown the other week, Lana wrestling a match. This is not. I don't want to be really mean to Lana, but nobody wants to see Lana wrestle a match, right? But English going around the outside, and he's got a big sign, and it was entertaining. And I'm thinking, I realized after the match, I was like, oh man, I just enjoyed a Lana match. So if Aiden English can make me enjoy that, then he's flying.
No, I can totally understand that there. No, definitely get that. Craig, you're the last up for this one. Who makes your number 3?
Number 3. Kevin Owens. Go with Kevin Owens. Even bumped to sort of a mid-card role, he's still entertaining. He still goes out, puts on a good show, good heel. That can't fault the guy.
No, I can understand that. I do like Kevin Owens. He's kind of always been in the forefront. Came into NXT with a ton of hype, lived up to that with the kind of the win, was a face, an immediate heel turn on the same night was brilliant, and then he's kind of carried that on, had his surprise clean wins over John Cena. He's done really well there. I know it's been a really impressive run for Kevin Owens, so I totally understand why he's on your list. So we're on to our number 2s. So coming up to the penultimate list, as I already said to Bohan and the rest of you guys, my number 2 is Adam Cole, baby. Like I said, since coming to NXT, he really has made the most of every opportunity that both he and the Undisputed Era have got. That, like I said, the standout for me was his double duty at Takeover. Didn't only win the North American title in a fantastic ladder match, which for me, standout match of the night, stole the show, was amazing. And then to help defend the tag team titles as well, just amazing. Once Undisputed Era get pulled up to the main roster, I'm seeing big things for them. I think it's going to be a fantastic faction. I think they're going to run roughshod over whichever show they end up on. So I'm really looking forward to seeing where they go. But yeah, Adam Cole made my number 2.
I would say, like, as far as the whole Adam Cole thing goes as well, like having a ringer in the match just is such a nice wee layer to character development. Like having Roddy already there, having all this agreed beforehand, it just makes him look like a fucking absolute like Broadway musical villain. It works so well for him.
Oh no, definitely. It did kind of have that whole feel like this was already pre-planned. It was kind of if you get to the finals, then you're gonna turn for us, and you're gonna make sure we keep those belts. And that whole layer of predetermination and premeditation, definitely made him stand out as more of a villain. Definitely, kind of that evil genius vibe was definitely there. Continuing on from that, let's have Craig kick things off after myself. What makes your number 2 and top 5 stars this year?
I don't know whether to say this one or not. John Cena. Yeah, John Cena. I think as he's 1 foot out the door, he's a lot more relaxed. He's more enjoyable to watch. Really, the main reason that I've chosen John Cena is, but I think it was before Mania. He did that promo where he was calling out Undertaker, and he mentioned Roman Reigns. The crowd fucking boos him out the building, and then he goes out into the crowd and says, "Well, I'm going to be sitting out here with these guys, having a beer during WrestleMania. We can cheer on Roman Reigns." Again, booed out the building, and he was just playing with it, and he's just having a whale of a time, and it's great to see somebody on stage that's just enjoying themselves.
No, I can totally get on board with that. No, I agree with you. Where John Cena is kind of 1 foot out the door. He's got a part-time schedule now. It just makes sense that he can say and do pretty much what he wants within reason of his character, but he's having fun with his role. He's not feeling the strain of being on the road 50 weeks of the year. And so he's got that freedom, that creative control to do what he wants and have the matches that he wants to have. And so certainly at this moment, he's kind of got that impact that he goes away for a while, does his stuff that he's doing, his voiceover work, his acting work, whatever he wants to do. And then when he does come back, he has that, bam, it's John Cena back again. And we know we're going to get big match John, because everyone expects when they have a big match and it's John Cena, he's going to deliver. At this moment in time, he doesn't need to phone it in, because obviously when you've got 1 foot out the door, you need to make sure that people are still remembering you, so you're going to want to put on a good match. So no, I can totally understand that. Bohan, who's your number 2?
My number 2 has ventured out of WWE, and it's Chris Jericho. Because
good choice, yeah.
When you look at what Jericho's done for himself with independent wrestling in the last year, it's fucking nuts, and you can see his touches on everything. And he was a big influence in what happened that created my number 1, but we'll come back to that. I mean, him beating the shit out of Naito with the ring belt was enough, and the ring belt was enough in and of its own this year for him to make that list for me so far. That great match in January, he's putting on a fucking wrestling cruise that's going to have a tournament with all the Ring of Honor guys. That's worth working when you're Japan for 6 months to put together. You're going to make yourself a fucking fortune on the way to the Bahamas. It's just one of those things that he just seems to have decided in the last year, you know what, I can do what Vince McMahon does for myself, and I only need to feed myself. Yeah, I'm just going to do it.
No, I totally understand that. I mean, I can understand that. I like Jericho. He's a very shrewd businessman. He knows what he needs to do, and he knows how to do what he wants to do. And like you say, he doesn't need Vince McMahon for that anymore. He can work off his own reputation, and he can get his own matches booked, and he can get himself on cards. And he is a very good wrestler. He's still he's still able to pull it out of the bag when he needs to. And then they say he's got that big cruise coming out of all the ROH guys, and that's even more eyes on the independent scene, which is always a good thing. It's always nice to have the alternative scenes. Those people can go, I'm not into WWE. What else is there around? Oh, Chris Jericho's doing some good stuff on the indies. Let's see what Chris Jericho's doing. Let's see what the indies are doing. So it's nice to have someone who's got the reputation of Chris Jericho able to shine a spotlight on what the independent circuit is doing. And so
I think as well, Vince kind of caused this himself because they took him to Japan for that Beast in the East show and the crowd just ate his shit up, and he had seemed to forget that he was quite big in Japan many moons ago.
Japanese people don't forget where the guys are coming from. I mean, look at when Finn went back to Japan for the Beast in the East show. Then they didn't forget who Finn Balor was. They didn't forget that Fergal Devitt made his name in Japan. Japan is the home, the spiritual home of Fergal Devitt. It's the birthplace of Prince Devitt. It's the birthplace of Finn Balor. Without Japan, we don't get Finn as we know him right now. And so, the fans aren't going to forget that Jericho was a huge name, was a big name in Japan before he ever went to WCW and, making his name in WWE. So, yeah, he kind of shot himself in the foot there. But no, certainly we're on that's there. So, Tom, you're the last one to round out our number 2. So, who makes your number 2 for 2018?
I've actually gone with an earlier answer, but for different reasons. So I didn't mention it then. We mentioned The Miz, and I'd like to go Miz again, but specifically focusing on what he's really improved in is his in-ring, I guess you'd call it psychology. Actually being in the ring and knowing what to do next, knowing whether to take a beat and let the crowd react. Ever since he started copying Daniel Bryan's moveset a while ago, and doing those things, it's like he started, his brain suddenly went, oh, that's how you get the crowd to react. I don't need to work with John Cena to know how to get the crowd going. And now Miz is working with people where, because Miz is in the match, he's given them the rub. And so developing his wrestling mentality in that way, actually making him a star where he can get other people over, that's the way that Miz has really, really developed. And because he's getting these talents as well now, he's turning himself into someone indispensable for the company. He's really one of their top stars, I think, right now. And that, for me, is why, even though he hasn't got a title at the moment, The Miz is in there. And, he made Seth Rollins look like $1 million, by the way, at Backlash. So.
No, I can agree with you. The Miz, like we said before, when Craig mentioned him, it has been absolutely fantastic. He's come on leaps and bounds since before then, before he was The Miz, and his heel work has been fantastic. It would seem that anybody who really works with The Miz, kind of bar Damian Sandow, really has gone on to be a little bit better than they were, because you had the Miz Taraj were kind of floundering, but just as themselves, and then Miz brings them on. They become his de facto bodyguards, if you will, interfering and that sort of thing, and then when Miz gets drafted to SmackDown, they form their own little tag team, and they're getting a little bit of a push there as well. So it does seem that if you work with The Miz, you are going to get the benefit of kind of the Miz's reputation by proxy of being associated with him. That you've had a match with The Miz, you had a good match with The Miz, or you're tagging with The Miz, it should be good. It does seem that the Miz has become almost a byproduct of someone you want to work with in order to elevate your own reputation.
Remember that moment? It was a few months ago now. But remember that moment? He's in the ring with Miz Taraj, and he starts listing all the Intercontinental Champions how he's better than them. And he just says Mr. Perfect once. And the whole crowd go, whoa, like that. And Axel looks at him, and suddenly he's given Axel this huge rub. And right, they've gone on, and actually, they look all right. How many times do you have a stable like that where they go on to be Ted DiBiase? They're actually doing okay.
No, they are doing pretty good, so no, I can totally understand that. So, they are doing well, so I can totally understand why The Miz has made the list twice, and why we've had some repeats there. But we come to our final entries in our top stars of 2018 so far. Let's see. Tom, who makes your number? You finish this one. Who you start the next one? Who's your number 1 this year?
So this is a bit of an interesting one because before this started, I almost spilled the beans because I've been so excited to talk about him. Elias.
Okay.
Elias was nothing for a long time. Like, Elias was nothing for ages, and it wasn't connected for ages. And then Walk with Elias starts. Walk with Elias. And then, remember that moment at Mania? John Cena there, waiting for The Undertaker. Boom, blackout. Elias comes out. People were cheering. Like, they were hyped to see Elias come out. But they wanted Elias Cena. Like, that is a huge scale of improvement. He may not be right now the best in the ring. He may not right now be the most over. But for me, if we're talking most improved in all areas, microphone, connecting with fans, in the ring, Elias.
No, it's certainly interesting. A bit out of left field for me, but no, I can get behind your reasoning.
I kind of get it though. It's in spite of the gimmick. It's kind of like Stardust. It's over because it's actually someone who is somewhat magnetic themselves, but they've given them such shit to work with. It's a miracle it's getting over at all.
No, I can understand that. Seeing as we're carrying on here, Bohan, let's take it to you. Who makes your number one for this year so far?
My number one is kind of cheating, to be fair, because there is no way I could split this because of the central point that really sort of blows everyone else out the water. But it's the Young Bucks and Cody, because not only in the ring have they had like such an incredible year, fucking the Young Bucks just never cease to amaze me. I feel like I am aware I am a fanboy. I am just a very happy fanboy because I see plenty of it these days as well through Ring of Honor and New Japan. It's not like it's not there, but like as good as the three of them have been this year, you really have to stop and think about what they've done as a marketing juggernaut in the last year, which is mental. Like fucking the first three people to, like outside of WWE to have a wrestler pop, the like pro wrestling tees business, they've cut out every fucking middleman they possibly can, up into the point where that Ring of Honor is just like, well, you might do this without us anyway, so sure, we'll get on board, use our talent. Like, there's all the Ring of Honor and New Japan guys that have already been confirmed for All In. No wonder it sold out in 30 minutes for a 10,000 goddamn seat stadium. And that's just shown what they've done for Ring of Honor as well. And it's mostly been driven by them pushing their own profile in tandem with New Japan being introduced to the States. They've done most of the work for two companies. It's fucking crazy. How did WWE not sign the Bucks? And how did they let Cody go without working out what they could do with him?
No, I can totally understand that and get on board with that. Cody Rhodes was an absolute travesty that they let him go. They really should have held on to him with both hands and said, what can we do? What do you want to do? How can we help you to get where you want to be, rather than just going, you want to release you? Okay, see you later. And then now they're looking over it and going, why the hell did we let him go? Because like you said, they know how to market themselves. They sold out a 10,000-seater stadium in 30 minutes just on the back of their own reputation and what they've been doing in the ring for Ring of Honor. People want to see these three guys. People want to see the independent scene, and that's why it's so popular right now. So definitely I can understand why they are your number one. I don't have any problem with you grouping them together because I did the same with Ziggler and McIntyre. So, I can totally understand. Without all three of them together, I don't think you would have got that juggernaut that is there right now. But certainly it is going to be interesting seeing where they go from here. Do WWE pick up the phone and say, what do you want? What will it take to get you to come back to us? Or with the Bucks, what will it take to get you to come to WWE? And, is Triple H going to pick up that phone and say, Cody, come back? What do you want? Is he going to say, bring the Bucks with you? We don't know. It would be nice to see it happen, but if Cody and the Bucks are happy doing what they're doing right now, then there is no reason for them to be in WWE.
Yeah. Spot
on. Craig, who makes your number one?
I generally, I don't know. Is there anyone else that we can add to this list at this point? No.
No, that's fine. I'll close it out then. My number one.
Hang on, do we not at least get to pick an honourable mention then? So Killian Dane.
Oh, Killian Dane, yeah, NXT. So many honourable mentions. I definitely think Killian Dane gets an honourable mention. He's been doing really well.
My list, so if I've not got a number one, there you go.
Yeah, no, certainly. My number one, if nobody minds. My number one is, for me, the guy who he gets on the list because he spent 3 years on the shelf, getting better, getting second, getting third, getting fourth opinions about getting back in the ring. He gets the all clear and he's back in the ring doing what he loves and what we love to see him do. He spent that long on the ring. He spent that long battling to get back into the ring. The day he announced his return to in-ring action was one of the most impactful days in the WWE. Everybody who's a WWE fan was tuning into SmackDown the day he announced he was getting back into the ring to see Daniel Bryan return. Daniel Bryan has been the most impactful return to the ring in a while, and especially this year. There is nobody who's been able to have that journey. You got the guy has to retire. He thinks he's never going to wrestle again. He then works and rehabs and continually fights to get back into the ring. And that man deserves all the accolades and all the praise that we can heap on him because he never gave up. He didn't say, okay, I'm done. I'm never going to wrestle again. He found a way to make it work. He found a way to get back into the ring. And for that reason, Daniel Bryan is my number one.
It's a great answer. I mean, it's almost the answer, isn't it?
It kind of was the answer for me at one stage, but I felt like someone else was going to pick it, so it got left off. You're spot on, but like, it's so nice as well to see how he's became a safer worker for himself as well, with like the rope grabs and stuff. Like, he just generally has a way of not landing on his fucking head now, and it's real nice to see that he's taking this shit seriously because I really don't want to see him die.
No, Daniel Bryan, like I say, he is working safer now. And it turns out, I was reading about this, and Daniel Bryan was saying that what they thought, what was announced as having lesions near his brain, it turns out that it wasn't as bad as doctors first thought. He doesn't. It wasn't that he was. The concussions were causing it. It turns out that Daniel Bryan naturally just has slower reflexes than a lot of athletes in the same position than him, and so that's why sometimes he was not getting the positions where he needed to be, just because his reflexes weren't as quick. And so where he's been able to find that out, he can then adapt himself to make sure he is safe again now.
That's really interesting. I didn't actually know that. That's really interesting.
That's insane, and also like very, very, very endearing as well that he's just deliberately decided he doesn't care. That should be a natural drawback, but everything about him should be, I suppose.
Oh yeah, I mean, when Daniel Bryan first came in, nobody thought that he would be where he is. Nobody gave him the time of day, really. We didn't think that, Daniel Bryan, this skinny guy with a Ring of Honor reputation, didn't have the look that Vince wanted from a star, didn't have, the connect, and then all of a sudden Daniel Bryan uses one word and then uses two words, yes and no. That's all he needed to say, and the crowd ate it up. We love an underdog story. We love seeing a man fight for what he wants and fight to get himself over. And that's the thing. Daniel Bryan didn't need anyone to put him over. Daniel Bryan got himself over. Daniel Bryan was able to connect with the fans in such a way that it hasn't been seen in a long, long time. Daniel Bryan knows what he is, knows who he is, and knows how to get the crowd to eat out of the palm of his hand. And we do it gladly.
It's fascinating that he's been able to come back after being off for so long and not miss a beat, isn't it? It's amazing.
It's fantastic. It's a testament to how hard he worked to make sure that when he did come back, he wasn't going to be the guy who lost the step. He wasn't going to be the guy who came back and, Daniel Bryan's not as good as he used to be. He wanted to make sure that when he did come back, people can go, yep, Daniel Bryan's still Daniel Bryan. He's not gotten any slower. He's not gotten any worse from having time off. He's not got any ring rust. He made sure that he was ready to come back when he did come back.
Sure. To use another sporting analogy, it's like Michael Jordan, isn't it, in the NBA? He goes away, plays MLB for a while, and then goes, I'm going to return to the Bulls. And then he wins the championship. It's just that scale of, wow, okay, this guy is that damn good. He may be one of the greatest of all time if he's capable of doing that, right?
Oh no, definitely, and I can totally understand where you're coming from. And Daniel Bryan is when he does decide to retire, when he has decided to hang up his boots for good, he's a first ballot Hall of Famer without a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so we've ran through our number fives to our number ones of the top 5 stars of 2018 so far. Now we're going to have a quick move on to the Money in the Bank pay-per-view. But just before we run down the card and the matches that have been announced so far, what are your kind of, Bohan, what are kind of your overall feelings for this coming up for the next couple of weeks for the Money in the Bank pay-per-view?
Honestly, I'm looking forward to it. It's got a semi-decent card, but like at the same time, nothing can top 2016 and 6 men atop ladders having a civilized discussion before a match broke out.
No, that's definitely going to be a hard one to top. Tom, what are your kind of initial feelings going into this?
Well, I'm wary. I mean, I remember the last time we had a Money in the Bank ladder match. It wasn't quite what I wanted anyways, and I think we might be due someone, oh my god, like Sandow winning it and then losing the cash in. I worry we're due that. That's the only thing. So I'm cautious going into it. Or Carmella winning and Ellsworth winning, but then Carmella winning. And just God, no one wanted to see that ever, and still no one wants to see it. So cautious.
No, I can understand that. I'm cautiously optimistic as well. So certainly, Craig, anything to add? Kind of what your initial thoughts of going into the Money in the Bank pay-per-view?
Daniel Bryan versus Big Cass. Fuck's sake.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I have been conveniently backing out on the fact that that's on that card. What the fuck kind of waste is that?
I just Daniel should be in. Okay, I don't want to see him get a concussion, but at the same time, I'd like to see him in another ladder match. But against Big fucking Cass, seriously, like him against Dolph Ziggler was a dream match for me. D-Bry against Dolph Ziggler, that'd be an amazing match. So why do they? What's this fascination of small guys against big, huge guys?
It's Vince McMahon. What do you expect?
Reigns against Jinder Mahal. Fuck. Oh, Jesus Christ.
Okay, let's run through this in a little bit of more detail. So yeah,
you've got a point. Who the fuck let him out the warehouse at the end of Indiana Jones? Like, what the fuck, Jinder Mahal? Please just bury yourself.
Well, once they actually lifted the lid off the ark, he could climb out anyway. So, just fuck.
Okay, so
who thought that would sell?
Vince McMahon thought it would sell.
Oh shit! I follow this page on Facebook called Wrestling Redefined, and one of the admins on it is called #BigDog. Fuck! It's the worst. It's like the kind of nickname that a small boy uses in the school playground, thinking that he's hard. Who's that? That's Steve. I'll go by Big Dog. No, awful moniker.
Oh, definitely. But yeah, so let's go through this a little bit more detail. We've got we've got Daniel Bryan versus Big Cass. Right now, for my money, Daniel Bryan could be doing a hell of a lot more than fighting Big Cass. For me, there's already a ready-made feud waiting for him. So hopefully, Daniel Bryan can beat Big Cass, put Big Cass to bed. Let's have that done, and then he can move on to feuding with The Miz, because that's ready-made. He had that whole thing with the talking smack stuff where The Miz was just constantly needling Daniel Bryan. And this is the perfect opportunity for Daniel Bryan to go, I've been sitting on this for years. Let's go.
Yeah. On Daniel Bryan, do you think they're trying to keep him away from Roman Reigns as much as possible? Because it would be devastating for Roman Reigns to go up against Daniel Bryan. Because if Daniel wins, Roman is still going to get booed out of the building. If Roman wins, he's going to get booed even harder.
They're not dumb enough to avoid those kind of no-win scenarios. 3 years worth of WrestleMania booking will show anyone that, I suppose.
No, it's ridiculous. Daniel Bryan needs to be doing more, but hopefully we'll get to see him do some more after this. The next match on the card that I'm reading, I'm just going from bottom to top. We've got Seth Rollins defending his championship, the Intercontinental, against Elias. Tom's loving Elias right now, so hopefully this will be a good match. Seth Rollins, can usually bring anybody to a mediocre, if not a very good match. So hopefully we'll get to see this, and I'm pretty sure Seth is probably going to keep the belt for this, but at least for this one for now, I can see Seth Rollins retaining the Intercontinental Championship right now. He's not had it for long enough, really, to warrant dropping it to Elias at this moment in time.
For sure. I think this is a neat little feud, isn't it? It's a good opportunity for Elias to get a bit more over, work with someone who's as hot as Rollins, and you're right, he'll make him look good in the ring. Elias has got a good finisher for me anyway. Put them together, give him a nice little program, get him going for a couple of months. I reckon that'll be a nice little rub, and maybe a couple of months' time, it might be time for Elias to have a title run.
Yeah, part of the problem with that match though is that you're two guys, beards, long black hair, black trousers. You're not gonna have a clue who anybody is, and Seth moves so freaking fast. You're gonna get lost.
Dude,
at least you can tell Seth Rollins is the smaller one. I mean, Elias has started to look a wee bit Roddy McGool over there. I mean, it's kind of scary how small he's got.
No, that is true. It's going to be interesting for that. Next match I'm looking at here now is and I'm really disappointed that WWE thought this was a good feud. It's really just fallen flat. Nobody really wants it. You can tell that these two guys aren't even interested, really. It's Bobby Lashley versus Sami Zayn. And the sooner this one can be put to bed, the better, because I really have no clue what they're doing.
It's got to be a squash. There's no other way about it, because Bobby Lashley is the next big thing. He needs to stop fucking smiling. That's one thing.
Yeah,
he's so much better in Impact as the serious ass kicker, because he's a legit ass kicker just looking at the guy. So let him be that. Let him go up against Brock Lesnar.
No, I agree with you, because Brock and Bobby both have MMA backgrounds. Bobby was doing MMA whilst he was in Impact, so
what's his record like? I have to have a look at that.
That's pretty good from what I remember.
It's better than Lesnar's, but it was Bellator and not UFC.
Yeah, that's very true. Mixed martial arts, Bellator. His record is 15-2.
That's not bad at all. Yeah,
it's not, but it is Bellator. To be fair, that's the same place that Kimbo Slice and his son both fought not long before Kimbo Slice died. It's really not sort of the
Kimbo Slice versus Bobby Lashley.
That would have been fucking terrifying to watch.
No, that is a fight. Bellator 153.
I never saw that fight. Wow, that just sounds like Bellator had a way of doing sort of circus booking for MMA that TNA had for doing for wrestling. It's strange to see it happen in MMA though.
It's going to be, but like I said, I've got no real interest in seeing Bobby Lashley versus Sami Zayn. It's probably going to end up just being some sort of squash match between, and Bobby's going to put Sami over. I really don't think it's going to hurt Sami that much. It does seem to be that he can get absolutely destroyed and then still bounce back at some point. So probably
there's always the possibility that the two of them are more than athletically capable of putting on an entertaining match that had fuck all build that really didn't mean much in the storyline, but it was at least fun to watch.
That would have been good, but instead they tried to fit this whole kind of weird Sami Zayn going on about Bobby Lashley's sisters thing that they thought was funny, but is actually anything but.
Bit of a fantasy here. You've got two mixed martial artists. Bobby Lashley has always wanted to fight Brock Lesnar. Do you think it's conceivable that Vince puts it on?
In a wrestling capability, probably, but I don't think
not in a wrestling capability.
I mean, you don't get a return match in UFC. Yeah, that could buy a lot of money.
No, I'm saying in WWE, because there's a history there of boxing.
Well,
that's a really interesting shout. That's a really interesting shout.
We all remember Brawl for All.
Oh yeah, nobody wants to go back to Brawl for All. That was a terrible idea. If we're going to have a shoot fight, then yeah, they need to have Brock Lesnar versus Bobby Lashley. They're both two MMA guys. I'll be happy for them to have a shoot fight, but anybody else is not going to work. So if you're going to have those two in an MMA style fight, I think you put it as a main event on a normal card. So you have normal WWE matches, all scripted. And then at the end of the night, we go, right, this is going to be Bobby Lashley versus Brock Lesnar in a legitimate fight. But the thing is, though, if you're doing that, if you're saying that they are having an MMA style fight, do you not then? I know obviously it's an open secret that WWE is scripted, but the suspension of disbelief is completely ruined if you're then saying these two are having an MMA style fight, but everybody else was just having wrestling matches. Do you then not ruin the kind of the suspension of disbelief that these guys are having legitimate wrestling matches?
Oh, isn't that what happened anyway? You know,
I don't think
Floyd.
money.
Andy, you're
Because if you're saying,
Has he disappeared to the other side of the room?
I'm not too sure where Tom went, but no, but
Tom just got swatted.
I'm back. I found it. I returned.
There we go.
My thing's all over the shop. I was just saying, I love the idea of just saying, and that, you know, we've got the show, here's your main event, and now the MMA bout between. Because even the marks will be going, is this real or is this fake? Like, totally. It might actually approach that level of, is this real again? And that's really interesting. And I think it's a good call. And actually, I think they should do it. I think you need to call up McMahon now.
I think Vince can bring himself, despite Dana, quite that way at this stage, though. Considering he's nicked a couple of talents off him now, they must be at least friendlier than they were at some stage.
Definitely.
Your only problem is the ring. You know, that's because nobody wants to fight in a square ring. You know, they want that sort of octagon.
The square ring, you can be more legitimate.
Yeah, it's still going to be legitimate, but nobody wants to fight in it. It's too easy to get the upper hand. You know, in MMA, you can circle around that center ring, and the guy that's in the outer ring still isn't in that position where he can be completely cornered. It's easier to get out. That's why they have the octagon, or one of the reasons that they've got the octagon. So they need to have one point in the pay-per-view where they could dismantle and then even just add sides onto it, so it does become an octagon. But they would
like
definitely
a cage that gets lowered down.
Yeah.
But going on from that, we'll kind of getting off the subject of the pay-per-view, but certainly it's an interesting discussion, though, definitely. But going on from Bobby Lashley and Sami Zayn, next match on the card I'm seeing here is the Bludgeon Brothers defending their SmackDown Tag Team Championships against Gallows and Anderson. Probably going to be another dominant display from the Bludgeon Brothers, but it is nice to see Gallows and Anderson getting somewhat of a bit of recognition for the work they're doing as a tag team. But for me, it's another squash match for the Bludgeon Brothers.
I'm happy to see my boys get pulled out of stasis for a match, but, you know, I'm just so sad seeing the Good Brothers get squashed over and over at this stage as a Bullet Club mark that I just can't cope anymore. Please just set them free.
I know. It was nice when they were back with Finn and they had the Bullet Club back together again. It was nice. It was doing well. And then they went, well, actually, you guys go back to SmackDown. That'll do you. We can't be bothered with having you around with Finn Balor anymore. You're not in our plans. It was a shame. But, you know, hopefully they can get some more recognition. But for now, that match is easy. For me, it's just going to be Bludgeon Brothers. Maybe have a slight bit of competition, but they're going to go out winning that match. Next match on the card is one match which I think I'm safe to say that I'm speaking for all of us that none of us want to see this match. It's Roman Reigns versus Jinder Mahal.
Well, at least they put them both in one match. They can't ruin other people's matches.
The network does fast forward. That is all I'm fucking saying.
That is true. I have not got the mental capacity to sit through what can only be described as probably one of the shittest matches that nobody cares about.
Yeah.
It's the sadist choice. It's there for you if you really want to watch it. I'm sure Mafia is going to have a cracking Botchamania 2 weeks after it.
Yeah, I know, right?
Who's going to make up a T-shirt that says "Roman can gender my bowels"?
Oh, that's
I need to get that printed up, man. Roman can gender my balls. It'd be brilliant.
Oh man,
that is
I
great.
just can't see the pair of them go 20 minutes, which they inevitably will do when it should have been over in 5, and then I'd have still been disappointed.
Hey, Bohan, here's the match for you, okay? Gender on the offense, Oh, wait. Superman punch, spear, 1, 2, 3, pin and pay him. There you go. That's a whole fucking match.
you're almost
Which is the lesser evil, though? That's just the worst thing about this match. Which outcome do you hope for? Because they're both tremendously shite.
Can we just have a double? No, because if we have a double count out, they're going to have to fight again. Shit.
No.
Disqualification?
No, because then they're still going to have to fight again. There is no way that.
Of course,
it
they're going to
doesn't
fight
matter.
again.
It doesn't matter if this leads to more or less. Someone gets a rub off this in the eyes of creative, and which one of them fucking deserves it?
This is a 2 pay-per-view feud because we're going to end another. This has been rumored already. It was on a wrestling.
Don't say that. That means it's a 3 pay-per-view feud.
You know what I'm going to say?
Don't have a match.
It's Roman versus Brock at SummerSlam. That's where we're heading again because we're pushing it on the was it Raw and SmackDown this week? Oh, Roman was screwed at Greatest Royal Rumble. They're pushing that angle again. So for SummerSlam, it's apparently the big money fight. Roman against Brock. So that's why this is a 2 pay-per-view feud.
See, for me, I've actually looked into this, and what Vince McMahon is doing with continually pushing Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar is actually the dictionary definition of insanity, in that he is performing the same action over and over again and hoping for a different outcome.
Don't get it this time. Don't cheer for you, Roman.
Stadium Mania, like only coming alive when they actually got fucking blood. You're never gonna get that message, are you?
No, Vince McMahon couldn't get the message that no one wants Roman Reigns unless it was somehow telegrammed to him, because he still lives in the era where unless somebody is screaming in his face, that he doesn't listen to the fans. He's of the opinion that I will tell you what to like and you will like it.
Yeah.
Did you? I know it's gone back a bit, but I've not fucking been on this. It was the Raw after the Greatest Royal Rumble, right? And he's first out. Roman first out. Music hits. Boo! Gets in the ring and he goes, "I let you down. Boo! But I will be the Universal Champion." Boo! Even louder. And you're like, you just don't get it. At what point do they actually learn?
The only time that they will learn is when fans learn that silence is louder than boos.
The crowd actually needs to turn their back on a Roman Reigns match. They can mute out boos, they can cover it with cheers on audio tape, but they can't cover 2,000 people turning their backs in the ring.
Exactly. I mean, they did that with, obviously it was scripted, but they did that in NXT with Bo Dallas. The crowd turned their back on him. So I don't see why legitimately fans wouldn't do that. I know if I was at a Raw taping and I was ringside and I knew that I was on the hard cam, as soon as Roman Reigns came out, I would turn my back, because you cannot stop me from getting filmed with my back turned.
Yeah.
But anyway,
absolutely.
I think we are flogging a dead horse with just beating on Roman Reigns, because it's getting us nowhere. We constantly, piss on everything he does, and nobody seems to get the fact that we don't want Roman Reigns around. Nothing that he does now will redeem himself. Turning heel isn't going to be it's too late to turn heel. It's too late to do anything. If they wanted him to be over with the fans, they should have turned him heel a long time ago so he could build heel heat. But now turning heel would just be placating. And we don't want to be placated. We don't want people to go, oh, let's turn him heel because, it's been too long. It should have been, the crowd are booing you already. We need to turn you heel now. The crowd have turned on you. Let's turn you heel. Not the crowd have been turned on you for the past 6 months. Let's turn you heel now. It's too late, and it's never going to work anymore. It's a failed experiment.
There'd also be no when going, there's the door, son. TNA's waiting.
But the thing is, he doesn't belong. He was fine with the Shield when Dean and Seth could cover up his inadequacies. He has been exposed for the failure that he is. He's not that good in the ring. He's got a very limited moveset. He cannot connect with the fans. His promos are
psychology.
No ring psychology. His promos are stilted. We know he's reading off a script, or at least he's memorized a script. There is no level of organic promo work. Yeah, he did some good promo work with John Cena, but again, that's John Cena bringing out somebody's best. It's not organically Roman Reigns, with his own work, with his own lines. He's being spoon-fed everything. He's being told, just keep on being Roman Reigns. Just keep on doing the same stuff you did in the Shield, and it's not working. At least when Dean and Seth split from the Shield, they had different looks, different movesets, different ring attires, different entrance music. They evolved as performers, and they rebranded themselves. And that's what Roman needed to do, but he didn't. He's still in the same ring attire that he had in the Shield. He still has the same music he had in the Shield. He was still coming out of the crowd for a long time until they realized, hold on a second, this is still the Shield. And then they bring him out through onto the ramp now. But that is the only change. Everything else is still Roman from the Shield. There is nothing different about what he's been doing.
Yeah.
But enough on Roman Reigns. We've got the next match up is Carmella defending her women's championship against Asuka, and I could see it going on a longer feud. I could see a screwy pin or a screwy finish in which Carmella gets to keep the championship, whether she gets herself intentionally disqualified, or Asuka gets herself disqualified because she doesn't release a hold or something. But I could see Carmella holding onto the belt for a little bit longer. Although I would like to see Asuka take that title.
It's difficult, isn't it? Because Carmella isn't really good in the mic, and she definitely isn't good in the ring. The moment she loses the title, she is just going to fade into obscurity. So they've really got themselves in a corner here. The moment Asuka finally gets a title offer, or whoever it ultimately does, it's just going to be like, okay, well, that Carmella thing's over, huh? Isn't it? So what do they do? Asuka can't win.
What do you think, Boham?
It sort of was predictable along the same lines as the streak. They followed the same trajectory here, but for totally different reasons. So the streak can't end because it's gone on for too long. It's mythical. Carmella had the briefcase for too long. Catch-22, you've got to cash it out at some fucking point before that pay-per-view. Oh shit, we have no idea what we're doing because we spent all this time avoiding the fact that we had a man win the first women's Money in the Bank ladder match. Right, put the belt on her. She's got to have it. We can't not give her it now. It's kind of our fault. Oh shit, she's got it now. We've got to get it off her. Kind of seems like what's happened there. Open and shut process for me.
No, I can agree with you. I definitely see that they've kind of gone, shit, we really fucked up here. So hopefully, Asuka wins the belt and she can, maybe that will be able to have another feud with Charlotte or Becky Lynch. Whoever goes on to win that briefcase is going to be interesting, but we'll get to that in a little bit. Next match on the card, for me, it kind of came out of nowhere. I don't feel that she's really earned a spot on the card to have this match as of now, but it is Nia Jax against Ronda Rousey for the Raw Women's Championship.
Now, here's the problem with this. It makes sense from a talent development standpoint to put her with Nia, someone who's a couple of steps ahead of her in development, but not going to make her look like she's absolutely fucking terrible because she recently was around that kind of level. She knows the help she's required to get there. Only get talent better by putting them in with people of at least moderately similar skill levels without exceeding them by several leagues. I'm not saying Nia's bad, just her style will work well enough for Rousey's sort of innate ability to look like she's having a fight without having one, which was terrifying that she had. Like, she really has wanted this for quite a while. She clearly didn't come in unprepared, but I don't think she's going to win the belt. I think they'll both look fucking great doing it. I really do.
So I think what they're going to do is, because yeah, you're right, the way it came out was just insane. With Nia practically going, go on, you know you want to wrestle me for the title. Like, it was just really stupid. I think what they're going to do is like a Rousey UFC run, where like, because Rousey didn't necessarily want to wrestle a match, and then Nia's going to be quite confident going in, they're going to build that up, and then they're going to get in the ring, and 17 seconds later, you know, Rousey, after hitting some big strikes, will have the armbar, Nia will tap, and it'll be like, oh, it's Ronda Rousey. I think they're going to do that, or at least I hope they're going to do that, because that's the only way this makes any sense to me. Nia doesn't lose anything if she gets caught off guard by the strikes and then she's hit with the armbar. So I think that's the only way it works for me.
Especially if you get a decent rubber match out of it and she's ready for it by that time.
Yeah, for sure.
Craig, what do you think about this one?
I love Ronda, man. I actually don't mind Nia Jax to an extent. But I just don't care about this at all. I don't know. The build-up's been really quite lame. I think you guys have already said that, but no, I don't get it. I don't get it. Don't know where this is going at all.
I think your difficulty is this matchup was inevitable without Asuka having her own thing to do, because it'd have been Asuka and Ronda Rousey had Asuka been available. It's your biggest, toughest, most likely competitor to not get the shit wiped out them in 2 minutes. You know, you might be right about it being a squash, but the perception's there, and I can understand the reasoning behind it. At least, who else can you actually feed her?
No, I get where you're coming from there. Next one up is the last singles match on the card. Is AJ Styles defending his WWE Championship in a last man standing match against Shinsuke Nakamura. For me, this one does hopefully close the book on the feud of AJ Styles. Whilst it has been fantastic to see those two going at it, they need the previous matches have had screwy finishers and non-finishers, which we didn't want. Yes, we like to see the feud extended, but not through, you know, those sorts of means. If you're going to continue a feud, have winners, have losers. So there's kind of that natural, you know, rematches and that sort of thing. So it continues on organically. This felt very forced in that we needed to, we want to carry on this feud, but we don't want anybody to lose anything by losing a match. And so they didn't want anybody to lose any sort of momentum. So it felt very forced in terms of making sure that nobody lost anything so they could have this match. And hopefully, you know, AJ's had the belt for a while. It would be nice to see a heel hold the title for a little bit in terms of the big belt. Yes, you kind of got Brock holding the big belt over in Raw, but he doesn't really count because he's hardly ever there. But with Shinsuke holding the belt, it would be nice to have a heel doing a full-time heel run with a championship. So I could see them giving the belt to Shinsuke Money in the Bank.
Wow, I think you're spot on. I think you summarized it really well there, James. Like, yeah, absolutely. Everything you just said was so on the money. And like, Shinsuke is a big, big name in Japan and now internationally as well. Like, he works with the title. He's just as big as AJ, if not bigger internationally. So it makes perfect sense to give him a go with it.
It does make perfect sense. That's also why it's not going to happen.
Yeah, WWE logic, yeah.
I mean, yeah, it makes perfect fucking sense, but we all know deep down what's going to happen is they've booked a segment that is literally the same as the end of the last match, and they've done that ending twice now, so why not do it a third fucking time?
Yeah.
What do you reckon, Craig?
Well, Shinsuke and AJ?
Yeah.
No, I think this is going to go on for a wee bit longer.
So do you reckon we're going to end up with a double count out at the last man standing?
No, they'll both be lined. Yeah. Let's go over that. Let's go over that. Double count out. Yeah, both down on the ground.
That was
from a ball shot, from a tandem double KO ball shot again.
Yeah, probably so something that's ridiculous and comes out of left field, and then that happens. But
or they're both standing up at 59 minutes and 58 seconds. Bell rings at 60, and they're both standing up, absolutely shattered, ready to go again.
It's not an Iron Man match, Craig. It's the last man standing.
Oh, is it right? No, but isn't there's a time limit? No.
No,
I thought these were normally 60 minutes.
no, they might have a nominal time limit in terms of they say you can't go any longer than that, but strictly speaking, there is no time limit to a last man standing match. But maybe if there is that whole that we couldn't decide a winner here, maybe a 60-minute Iron Man match between Shinsuke and AJ is the way to go.
Imagine if they do a last man standing match, and then out of nowhere, like Ring of Honor style, they just go, the ring bells after an hour. Go, ladies and gentlemen, it has been a time limit draw.
Yeah.
I think going Broadway was a riot in this day and age, though, in a stadium. Like, almost certainly that would be Axl Rose walking off halfway through a Guns N' Roses set. That would be fucking fire in the streets.
Yep.
Yeah, you can't do it.
Not anymore. So next two are the Money in the Bank ladder matches. So we've got the women's match, which is Ember Moon versus Charlotte Flair, Alexa Bliss, Becky Lynch, Natalia, Lana, Naomi, and Sasha Banks. So it's the second one. Well, technically it's the third one because they had to redo the first one because of that stupid James Ellsworth bullshit. But yeah, so we'll see those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 women go up against each other. And it just says for a women's championship contract. So I don't know if they've made it, because it's obviously co-produced pay-per-views now, whether or not that briefcase is going to be you can challenge for anybody's championship, or whether it's going to be dependent on the show that you're currently on.
Kurt's subject to whatever Fitz booking Ex Machina required at the time, I think.
Yeah, probably. Because, I mean, at the end of Royal Rumble, it was, you got to choose this one that just happened. It was they got to choose which championship they wanted to go for. Because they used to do that when the brand split happened before. I mean, the Royal Rumble, after that, it was whatever show you're on, that's the championship you went for. And then the one that we just had was if you won the Royal Rumble, you got to choose which championship you went for. So maybe they're doing the same thing with the Money in the Bank, that you get to cash in your briefcase whichever championship you want whenever you want.
Quite potentially. Who do you see getting it though, realistically?
I think Charlotte Flair, Alexa Bliss, they've had championship runs. Lana's too green to really warrant holding it. Ember Moon's only been in. For now, that's where my money's going. I think it's going to go to Becky because everybody else really, Ember Moon's only been in the main roster for a short amount of time, so I couldn't see it. They're giving it to her.
Naomi sells merch though.
Naomi does sell merch. I think it's between Naomi or Becky really, because the rest of them, Lana's far too green to hold a title. Or even the briefcase, it's just not going to work. Sasha Banks, Charlotte Flair, Alexa Bliss, they all have the ability to get championship fights without the need for a briefcase. So for me, it comes down to Becky Lynch and Naomi, and I like to see Becky Lynch win this and get the push that I think she deserves because she is a fantastic performer.
See, heart for me says Ember Moon, because Ember Moon's just fucking incredible. Ember Moon has been my favourite women's wrestler below Asuka for quite some time now.
Oh, dude, I just thought of something. An eclipse from a ladder.
Oh, God, yeah. That's exactly the kind of reason I'm talking about this. Heart says Ember Moon, head says Naomi. Glowing belts aren't going to manufacture and sell themselves.
That is very true. Craig, where do you see this one going, the women's one?
Becky. I freaking love Becky. She could do with this, but Naomi sells merch. Emberman's cracking. Alexa. I love Alexa too. I don't know. I'd be happy, to be honest. I'm actually looking at a picture of all of them, and I'm like, the women's division is fucking cracking. It's really good, and probably it's made better without the Bellas.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think the Bellas were kind of the last remnants of the last remnants of the Divas era, really. Kind of the Bellas were around when the Divas era still existed, and kind of the women that are in there, bar Natalia, really came in at the tail end of the Divas era, going into just being the women's division. Natalia and the Bellas were still were the remnants of the Divas era, and at least kind of Natalia has embraced that it's just the women's division now. It does seem that the Bellas were holding back to it being a Divas division, and we don't want that. We enjoy women's wrestling. We don't need divas.
On
True.
that, like, why is Lana still wrestling?
Lana's still wrestling because she had a contract for a while. I think they're going to be obliged to give her a shot at some stage, I suppose.
She's a awesome valet. Just let her do that. She's good at that.
I'm telling you, Aiden English is an awesome valet. Aiden English as Lana's valet. Let me tell you, like Lana works at the moment with English just cheering her on. There is something in that. If Rusev can't have a title, let Lana have one. That's what I say.
I want Rusev Day to come. Rusev Day will probably eventually come in the form of a secondary belt at some stage, but like
Rusev belt.
The women's division is very good. It's very solid. It's better than it's ever fucking been. I just feel that it's sad that Nikki Bella wasn't quite up to snuff because she genuinely seems like she actually cared about the business, even if she wasn't great at it. The least you can hope is somebody has the reverence for it, I suppose.
No, I can understand. So after the women's match, we've then got the men's match. So in the men's match, we've got Braun Strowman, Finn Balor, The Miz, Rusev, Bobby Roode, Kevin Owens, Samoa Joe, and one of the New Day who still hasn't been decided as of yet. I want Braun to win the briefcase. I know he doesn't need to, but I'd just like to see Braun demolish everyone and take the briefcase down.
Can he climb a ladder? I don't know. Is he too big?
The Big Show got round that. That ladder's somewhere in the warehouse.
Get him Big Show's ladder.
Can he just tiptoe and grab it? Jump a wee bit. You'll be able to get it.
Here's the thing, though. Does anybody genuinely not believe that New Day spots Big E? Look at the makeup of this match.
It's probably
I not only think it's going to be Big E. I may be insane, but I've called correctly some insane things on this podcast in the past. I think Big E's winning it. I think just because Big E's in the match doesn't mean the other New Day can't help.
I really don't want you to be wrong because I think it could be very entertaining.
Oh, it'd be brilliantly entertaining. Maybe they can coat the entire briefcase in pancakes.
No,
if Big E has the briefcase, then the other two members of the New Day don't need anything else. They can just come out and support Big E during the whole year when he's running around with the briefcase for a lot. And
or
then
you can let the New Day have the tag belts and go full DX on that shit.
Oh,
that would be pretty cool.
They're a huge stable right now. They're so big and they sell so much merchandise. I think it's a good call. I think it's worth giving them a go.
I think Braun might have this. Going forwards, like say I'm right, and it's Brock versus Roman at SummerSlam. Roman wins, Braun could cash in at that point,
and we would love it. And I would explode. I would be a ball of amazingness, and it would be fantastic. It would be beautiful. And then we'd watch as Braun Strowman power slammed Roman Reigns through the ring to the deepest, darkest recesses of a basement in which Roman Reigns can never escape. And then we all cheer as Roman Reigns drowns in his own sorrow.
Oh, shit.
Right, you know what's the weirdest thing, right? Tom, your point was batshit insane, but I think there's a point to it and a logic that you may not have seen here, because you're right. But they did this before, and it was Sheamus that cashed in, and no one liked Sheamus when he cashed in. Everyone liked him the second he cashed in. So I think that this is going to go to Big E because this is your opportunity to build him back door. This is your opportunity to go, here's someone you like doing this time. Fire in. I'm sure he'll enjoy it.
Oh, but come on, dude. How good would it be to see Braun Strowman cash it in and take it off of Roman Reigns?
How good would it be to
see
do that?
Star.
Can you imagine?
Think what an instant star that would make Big E or anyone on that match that they're ready to step up. I really want it to be Fergal. It's not going to be Fergal.
That's a shame, though. He was the first Universal Champion, and it's kind of, after his injury, he's never got back up to that level that he should be at.
Yeah, but it's a matter of time with Finn, isn't it? They're just waiting for the right moment, and you can see that, and they will. It'll happen. There, it'll be. It it's on the horizon. I mean, and when it happens, it's just going to be the biggest moment, isn't it?
I can see that, but imagine that. I mean, if Finn goes over to SmackDown or D-Bry goes to Raw, Daniel Bryan versus Fergal Devitt for the World Championship.
You've also got him versus Nakamura as a possibility, which is ultimately, I think, what all the Japanese nerds are just dying to see.
What, D-Bry versus Shinsuke or Fergal versus Shinsuke?
Both. There's no reason you can't do them over a year.
A triple threat match.
I worry that would be too stuffed.
Yeah, it might become a spot fest, actually. But no, well, we've ran through all of the card there in terms of the Money in the Bank match. We've done our top fives. So unless anybody else has some final thoughts going to close out the podcast, I think that's a good place as any to end it.
Yeah. Okay. Congratulations to Jericho for winning the Intercontinental for New Japan.
Yeah. Impressive.
I mean, you saw it coming, I suppose. It's going to be fun to be on that tour when he's got that belt hopping around when Aito chased them round the boat.
That's going to be a fun cruise to be on, definitely. But from myself, it's good night.
Yeah, from me, it's good night. Thanks for listening.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me, guys. It's been great.
No problem at all. And Bohan, any final words from yourself?
Oh, Jesus Christ, why is gender Roman Reigns a thing?
That will be an unanswered question. It will forever haunt our dreams. And
tune in next week.
With that piece of disappointing news, it's goodbye from us all. See you next time.
What?